Hey guys, I'm making another guide video. This time I'll be showing you how to get past the mechanics for the dungeons in the Abode of Dreams, or what it's going to be called on Western release, the Phantom Palace. These dungeons are a little step up from the previous, because if more than one party member is unaware of the mechanics, you will be inside of the dungeon for a long time or will end up not even completing it. For the first fight, focus down the metal boss to trigger the mechanic. Focusing down the rook will have a chance of you staggering him before the mechanic and causing a guaranteed wipe. When the mechanic happens, all the players with the AoE around them should run to the edges of the arena. The player without the AoE hides behind the middle boss so that the rook will fire his projectile and cancel the middle boss's wipe attack. The second time the mechanic triggers, they will spawn rook pieces around the middle boss with the purpose to block the projectile. To get rid of the rooks easily, I suggest having one player use their awakening skill. The mechanic happens twice during the fight. After the second time, start focusing down the rook to bring them at equal HP. You want to kill the bosses at the same time or relatively close to the same time. Killing them at largely different times has a high chance of one of the bosses going Super Saiyan and killing all of you. For the second fight, know that the mechanic starts at 15 health bars and 5 health bars. Player 1 is north, player 2 is east, player 3 is south, player 4 is west. You must grab the swords in an organized order from player 1 to 4. Player 1 grabs his sword as soon as he sees it and starts to impair the boss. The next 3 players must now wait for their player to flash the amount of times that corresponds with their number. You do not grab the sword when your character flashes with purple dialogue. When purple dialogue appears, that's how you know someone else grabbed a sword. You must now wait for the flash without any dialogue. After each person grabs their sword, they must start to impair the boss. If you're good enough, player 3 and 4 might not even need to grab their sword. If you're having trouble with impairment, try organizing your group so that the classes with the most impairment grab the sword first. For the first fight in the Aurelsud or Hilderbrandt Palace, the mechanic will trigger at 8 and 5 health bars. The boss will teleport to the middle of the room and summon portals along the walls of the room. These portals are not like the story mission, they are now color coordinated. During this mechanic, there is no reason to put any damage on the boss. You should focus on finding what portal to enter. Position yourself in the middle of the room to see all the portals and to see where the wave that is going to kill you spawns. Find the color of the portal fast and don't enter purple portals. The purple portals are guaranteed to kill you. One other thing to know for the fight is the pizza attack that the boss does. The boss will summon a circular red telegraph that only has one safe spot. You'll know what way the safe spot rotates by the orbs that rotate around the telegraph. For the second fight, the mechanic will trigger at 15 and 8 health bars. While trying to avoid the falling boulders, pay attention to whether or not you have a red marking on your character. Whoever has the red marking must find their way to the boss and sit on the boss until the red marking disappears and a meteor falls from the sky. Successfully getting the meteor to hit the boss will cause the mechanic to end. If you're struggling to stay on the boss before a boulder hits you, try equipping an ability that has push immunity or a tenacity subskill. Outside of the mechanic, avoid the blue telegraph attacks that stun you. If you or your teammates get stunned and put into a bubble, try to break them out to avoid taking unnecessary damage. For the third fight, you will have to get past 2 impairment/stagger checks and 2 mechanics. The impairment checks will happen when the boss reaches 34 and 26 health bars. For this, you must use abilities with impairment or stagger. Failing to deplete the bar under the boss will cause a wipe. If you're struggling, I highly suggest getting all party members to equip whirlwind grenades. If you all have grenades, I suggest each throwing one at the start of each impairment check and then using your impairment abilities. After the second check, the mechanic will trigger at 16 health bars and then again at 8 health bars. The first time this mechanic triggers, one player will have an X on them, the other 3 players will be projecting a beam of light. The player with the X must stand still and the players with the lights must aim their light at the player with an X. When the preparation window closes, the player marked with an X should have 3 glowing dots above their head. If they don't, 1 or more players aren't aiming properly and you won't be able to move away from the wipe attack. To make aiming easy, I suggest that the player with the beams of light stand a couple feet back from the X, and instead of trying to aim by moving your character, stand still at a good distance and aim using an auto attack. The second time this mechanic is triggered, one player will be equipped with a circle behind them instead of a beam of light. The player with a circle should auto attack from the player with an X. The player with an X should now run into the golden circle, while the players with beams of light start to aim once the X is in position. If this is done properly, players should now be able to move when the wipe attack commences. I hope this video helped you on completing these 2 dungeons. Any amount of support is appreciated. Thank you for watching.